For those of you who are not fully caught up on the Pig Farm Killer series we've been doing, episodes 1 and 2 are available on Spotify or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. They're also available on YouTube in video format if that is what you're into.
Oh, we'll make you unhungry.
Oof. You're not going to be much hungry. You're not going to be much hungry. You're not going to be very hungry after this. Trust me on that one.
If you are, you may need to consult a professional.
Or you're just a normal viewer, you know? I think what was it? Madness said he was hungry after part 1.
Yeah, that's true. Madness did say that. You guys are just morbid Messenites. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly. Just morbid Messenite Monday. You know what I mean?
It's a thing. We've been hinting at it for a while, but you guys know morbid Messenites and standard Messenites. You can be both, but you could also be one or the other.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm starving.
Oh, God. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Morbid Message Monday. My name is Jake.
And my name is Matt.
And today, we're getting back into the grossest thing I've ever looked into. The story of the Pig Farm Killer, a.k.a. Willie Pickton.
What are you talking about? It's all sunshine and rainbows.
It's all sunshine.
Bad about this guy.
You're so right. Nobody's ever found any dead sex worker DNA in ground beef in his freezer ever for any reason. That just didn't happen. You know what I mean?
It's in your kids' gummy bears.
Oh, God. Yeah. So I think where we last left off. Yes. Where we last left off, we talked about Tracy Bouillon, who was the woman who got away from Willie after he told her about how women who go back to dope, who live on the east side downtown Vancouver, deserve to die. Literally what he said. Yeah. So we're going to get into somebody else who got away, but let's just say barely. But first, we're going to go into 1996, and we're talking about Willie's good friend, Lisa Yelds. In 1996, Lisa Yelds was living with Willie Pickton. She was a really good friend and someone who kept him in check. She even barked at him to shower. Like she was like, dude, you fucking stink. Like, what? You smell so bad.
Which is saying a lot considering he was so afraid of showering. He was so afraid of just fucking water.
Oh, well, he didn't shower. He only took baths. I'm sorry. That was a misnomer on my part.
Did he actually just take baths? Oh.
He only ever took baths. They didn't have a shower at the Pickton. Well, I'm sure that Dave finally ended up getting one, but
he probably broke his.
Oh, God. Dave's such a piece of shit, too. Oh. Anyway. So, like I said, Willie would allow people to live with him, right? Mm-hmm. And Lisa Yelds was somebody he'd known since they were young. She actually was a girl that Willie gave a bag of hot dogs when they were younger. When her and her family went to Willie's, what the hell, Louise Pickton's store, and he gave her a free bag of hot dogs, and she remembered that, and he was like, "Oh my God, you remember that? That's crazy." So she started living with him.
It's like Hunger Games, just way more redneck.
Yeah, way more Canadian redneck. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Oh God. Anyway, she lived with Willie in that motorhome that we brought up last episode as well.
Which props to her, man. Somebody that fucking nasty.
When you're that down on your luck, man, I mean, you gotta
have some sort of standard as to like sleeping next to somebody who smells like a dying carcass.
But the truth is, Willie loved this. I mean, he loved having somebody living with him.
I'm sure.
She would go with him to the auctions. They even had little inside jokes. If they went shopping, they would take sales stickers off of things and throw it onto another item and be like, "Oh, look, I got it for that price. I really pulled a fast one on them." But in the time that she lived with Willie, fewer women really went missing. I mean, there were only 4 that year as opposed to the 5 the year prior. Lisa had no idea about Willie's obsession with the downtown east side, though. She, he still was out doing these things. He was still out, finding sex workers and propositioning sex workers, all that kind of stuff. But she just wasn't aware of it. Or she turned a blind eye. It's like, how are you not?
I feel like she had to have turned a blind eye because she was living with the dude.
Yeah.
Like,
remember when I gave you those hot dogs that one time? I guess we're married now. Pretty much.
Basically a proposal.
Pretty much. And Lisa Yeld made sure to let everybody know, like, this was a purely platonic relationship. They shared the same bed, but no sexual things ever happened. She did, however, one time she did wake up and she felt him, She felt his little rat pecker. Because, it was morning wood and whatever. She made sure to note that in the book. The book again, which is On the Farm, which has way too many fucking details.
It's got a lot of details.
Excellent. It's one of the best books. Yeah. I swear, one of the best books. It's so good.
Except for the fact it's got like 72 chapters.
Yeah, that is true. Now, later that year, Lisa moved out. She found a place in Surrey. And after some time, Willie became more obsessed with the low track at this point, like possibly more than ever. He would oftentimes leave his truck or motorhome right out in front of the Astoria, which is like his favorite place. You know what I mean? Jake, why should you note that? Yeah, which is like his favorite place to, go to the bars and buy everybody drinks and buy drugs for the
he wanted to be the
prostitutes there.
He wanted the center of attention.
He was, because he had nothing else.
Yeah.
And that's true.
He had the pigs.
It was at this time that he met Gina Houston. Gina Houston being somebody who is she was a self-proclaimed pimp in a way. She knew a big group of girls. They all kind of put their money together and all that kind of thing. And he actually met Gina Houston because Willie had asked her friend who she was with for a blowjob that night. And Gina was the lookout for that friend because at this point there were so many women going missing that they all had lookouts. But after a little while, she got out of Willie's truck and they went on their merry way. Now, Gina would become a huge part of Willie's life, but we won't get into that. And again, she had met him through Vicky Black, who was the woman she was looking out for.
The working girl.
Now, two more women went missing in 1997, Laura Laliberte and Stephanie Lane, neither of whom were linked to Willie Pickton. Now, obviously, there are more. I want to give a disclaimer. There are more women who go missing. The book definitely lets you know. But I'm going to try only focusing on those who were directly linked to Willie Pickton.
Yeah, because there was a lot of speculation on like many more that could have been linked to him, but there was no like physical evidence. There was no anything to like really link them to him, even though it's just suspected.
Exactly.
So
well, and this next woman, Sandra Gail Ringwald, she's directly connected. Mm-hmm. However, 1997 was kind of the year that Willie really amped it up. Serial killers sometimes have something called a berserk mode. They kind of go into like, I'm going to kill as much as I can. Mm-hmm. 1997 through 1998, that's really when he went into berserk mode.
Yeah.
It is harrowing. Well, and we're going to get into that now.
He wanted to accomplish, like he had a goal.
Now, Sandra Gail Ringwald was a working girl and an addict working in the downtown East Side. She was horribly abused by her pimp and was completely addicted to speedballs. For those of you wondering what a speedball is, that is a mixture of heroin and cocaine.
But she was getting the good stuff. She wasn't getting the shitty ones, the $2 ones.
No, and she needed to make money and she needed it fast. She had sold some drugs earlier in the day and made enough to get comfortable. Her habit cost about $200 a day.
That's so fucking crazy.
$200 a day. Can you imagine being that addicted to heroin and cocaine? Like as a mixture too? Ooh,
I thought my energy drink habit was bad.
Yeah. She now had to pay her pimp, who is Stu, her highly abusive, terrible man pimp. Named Stu.
Good name, Stu.
Such a boring pimp name, you know what I mean? Normally it's like Dr. Octagon or something like that. Dr. Octagon. Yeah, or Or is Mr. Leopard Print, like something like that.
Mr. Leopard Print.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. No. See, and I'm just saying, he's got a boring fucking name.
No,
he's also a piece of shit.
Yeah. Stu does not strike name into the the heart. Oh, Stu? Yeah, Stu.
But Sandra, she was feeling comfortable. She decided to go to the casino in Chinatown, just up the road from the low track. But she lost $60 gambling at the casino in Chinatown. Yeah. She was now afraid of Stu finding out, as again he was highly abusive. And after doing a speedball, she went out on the streets to find a trick. Y'all know what a trick is by now. Roughly 4 hours later, a man in a red truck pulled up. "How much for a blowjob?" he asked. She told him $40. He asks how much it would be for more. By more, he meant coming back to his place in Coquitlam. Mm-hmm. He offered $100 and a ride back downtown by 1 a.m.
Yeah.
The two made small talk until she requested he pull over so she could use the restroom at a gas station just up the way. He said his place wasn't far, just use it there. They got to his place. She noticed it was just, obviously it was disgusting. It's Willie Pickton's place, after all.
It was disgusting.
So, if that's even a surprise to you, then, you might need to get your head checked there. Anyway, so obviously she got to his place and she noticed it was obviously disgusting. Papers everywhere, old food, just nasty, just as gross as it could possibly be. It smelled like pig shit. There was pig shit everywhere. Willie Pickton is made of pig shit. So it's like, it what is haunting the internet? Good old Willie. Willie Pickton is still alive. Anyway, once they got to his place, though, she walked through the kitchen. She noticed a large butcher knife on the counter. Mm-hmm. They then headed to the back room. This is where the magic happens for Willie. Okay, the back room. He pulled out, in his room, there was a thick roll of clear plastic lying next to a sleeping bag. This is where he would sleep.
If that's not a damn red flag, I don't know what is.
Pretty big red flag, but at this point, she's already in there. You know what I mean? Like,
you've already agreed to it.
You've already agreed, and he's offering $100. She needed it really bad, so she didn't get abused by her terrible pimp. So it's like, red flags or not, whatever. He pulled out five. Yeah, he pulled out 520s, and he paid her. They undressed, and instead of a blowjob, he requested sex. Nothing too odd. After they finished, they got up and got dressed. Sandra still needed the bathroom. She asked to use his phone so she could call Stu. He declined, saying other girls used it for long-distance calls, and suggested a payphone down the road at the gas station. They could stop on the way back. She said she needed the bathroom. In the bathroom, she shot up, but she missed her vein and she didn't get high. And she shot up a speedball, by the way, for those of you wondering.
I didn't even realize if you missed the vein, it didn't do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. It probably just fucking ruins your
muscles.
I don't know. I don't honestly know. Drugs are weird. Yeah. I don't know drugs very well. Annoyed, she left the bathroom. She asked if she could use his phone book to get the number of the Cordova rooms, because that's the single room occupancy that they were staying in, her and her pimp. He handed her the phone book, and she started looking through it. Now, she could feel him nearby. He was kind of like creeping around, you know what I mean?
Just
annoyed,
staring from the kitchen.
Yeah, just no, worse. He was like right behind her. Annoyed, she turned around. This is when she felt him grab her left hand and start caressing it. Real creepy. He was, "Oh, you remind me of my prized pig. Oh, you look so good today. I fuck my pigs." Anyway, just really creepy stuff. At this point is when she felt him put a handcuff on her wrist. Mm-hmm. Now, this is going to get really brutal. So I want everybody, viewer discretion advised. Now, some may have been scared, but Sandra was a badass. She immediately started punching and kicking and screaming on sight, just throwing her fists into his face, kicking the shit out of him, beating his ass. Now, he fought back, throwing his own punches, and I'm dead serious when I say this, slaps. He started slapping her because he's just that.
What else is he going to do? She's beating the shit out of you.
He's such a little fucking shrimp dick, motherfucker, whatever. Now, she remembered the knife from earlier. She started backing her way out of the room while throwing punches. She got into the kitchen. She reached behind her. She felt the knife cut into her hand.
Oh.
Not fazed, she grabbed the knife and slashed right into his face and throat. Just boom, just like literally ear to ear, sliced him, okay? Now, she then pulled it, sliced it across his cheek, and he exclaimed, "You fucking bitch, you got me good." Almost excited.
Yeah,
like,
it was
he
like
had like a tone of like,
him.
he was like, "Oh yeah, she's getting crazy with me. This is what I've always wanted."
Again, shit that you would expect to see in a movie or like a TV show.
Oh no, this is like really like, okay, you're trying too hard horror movie territory.
Right, right.
Now he grabbed a stick and he bashed her with it. She threw a plant in it at him and found anything else that she could find and just fucking started hurling things at him.
Mm-hmm.
He attacked again. They were full on brawling at this point. And then Sandra blacked out. So it's, the adrenaline is already so nuts.
Yeah.
She's literally fighting for her life. She blacks out.
Well, and I'm sure the misplaced drug infusion didn't help anything.
Yeah. And before that, because I missed my note here, she saw a door and she tried to break through the window. She realized the window was plexiglass and the door was glued shut. So she realized the only way she could get out was going through Willie Pickton himself. He attacked again, and they were full on brawling when she did black out. When she woke up, they were outside by his truck. He was over her, bending her back, like holding her, you know what I mean, from behind and bending her back. Hold on a second. And she was still holding the knife, jabbing at him frantically.
That's what I was confused about. Like, how, like, why? Why didn't he disarm her?
Well, here's the thing. He had to have, because at this point she had also been stabbed. Like parts of her intestine were actually like coming out, and she's like holding them in because he cut her stomach open. Oh. Now, she started to feel Willie kind of like lose his weight. He was like falling onto her, almost like he was trying to hold her down. But what really happened is he was losing consciousness because of all the blood he had lost from getting sliced in the throat and the face, literally like across his face. Sandra Ringwald, such a badass. Now,
she got him.
Well, yeah, she did. I mean, it was incredible. So after he kind of fell to the ground, she just got up and started running. She grabbed the knife and she ran. She ran to the nearest building. Now, the nearest building was a Hell's Angels booze house that because Dave Pickton was like a big fan of the Hell's Angels. He always had them around, and he gave them essentially property so they could, be near him all the time. Nobody was there though. Mm-hmm. So she ran up to the door. She started banging on it, screaming, covered in blood. I mean, splattering blood everywhere.
Yeah,
okay.
She was a mess at this point.
Yeah. And she's a total mess. At this point, she broke a window because she just wanted to get away. She didn't know what was going on. She wanted to get the fuck out of there. She knew that Willie cannot have been far. Okay. Like, this is straight up horror movie stuff. Mm-hmm. But she's screaming, "Help me, like, let me in." Nothing. So she breaks a window, but she finds out that she can't get through.
Right.
Then a car drives by. At this point, she was obviously very afraid. So she hid when the car drove by. She was like, "Oh shit."
She thought it was Willie.
Yeah, she thought it was Willie. She was like, "Oh my God." She realized, though, that when the car drove by, there were two people in the car. Mm. She continued banging on the door, screaming, like, "Please help me, help me, help me, help me." And broke another window. Unfortunately, she never got inside. She noticed the car came back, drove around. She was screaming, "Help me, help me," when the couple finally pulled over. What they saw was a bloodied Sandra holding a knife. The man literally screamed, "Don't stab us." So please don't stab us, because like this is a straight up like woman. Her guts are falling out of her stomach. Okay. Like this is somebody
and if
who's
that
like
comes running at you. Like, what the hell are you supposed to think?
Absolutely. She's on the verge of death here. Okay. Right. Like very, very clearly. Mm-hmm. Now this couple, out of the kindness of their heart, they fucking open the car. They say, "Get in. We're going to take you to the hospital." She lays across the back seat and she's holding her intestines in. She tells the woman in the front seat, "Hey, I need you to look at that farm with that little white car. Mm-hmm. If I die, the guy who lives there, the one in the trailer, he's who did this to me." Now, they brought her to the hospital where she was operated on, and she lived after,
how you survive that is beyond me, because
good doctors, man. I don't know.
I guess so, because your intestines are hanging out. Like, you're all sorts of fucked up.
Now, not too long after this, a 49-year-old male showed up as well with severe stab wounds and his mouth cut open and his throat cut open. This man needed operation right away. And this man was Willie Pickton.
It's Willie.
Now, I'm going to say this. The police did actually try this time. The RCMP did, at least. Detective Paradis, I think is his name.
I think it was Paradis.
Yeah, he was the one who went to the hospital initially, and he found Willie. He went through Willie's belongings because he noticed that the woman who had been stabbed had a handcuff on, and then he showed up not too long afterwards. He's like, "Well, this is a bit of a coincidence, isn't it?" So he goes,
hey, how are you?
Oh, what are you doing there? Oh, Willie Pickton, huh? You piece of shit. But anyway, he starts going through Willie's belongings, and he's like looking through his pants. Also, like, brave man to go through Willie Pickton's pants, because I'm vomiting, dude. You know what I mean? Like, there's pig shit everywhere. It's sweat. The dude doesn't shower.
It's stank. It's pure stank.
What he realized was there was a ring in his pocket. He quickly went back to the handcuff that was on Ringwald and realized it was the key to that handcuff. Yeah. So, after examining the booze house of the Hells Angels, they determined that at the very least a violent encounter took place. They interviewed Ringwald the next day. She told him how everything went down, minus the fact that $100 was paid to her for sex. She was afraid they would keep it. They gave her the money back, but they confiscated the heroin and cocaine. She had a couple pouches left of her heroin. You count your losses
at that point.
Oh my God, she has her life, dude.
Right.
Now, really, Willie, he had something else to say, and I'm going to read verbatim what Willie said. Using this lovely Kindle provided to me by Panda Commander. Shouts to you, my friend. He's not here right now, but all right. So Willie, this is a direct excerpt from On the Farm with Stevie Cameron. Willie's version went like this. It was in Vancouver. I was in Vancouver having a little rest in my pickup, and a prostitute knocks on my window. She wakes me up. How much? I ask. She says, 200. So I says, okay. We go back to the trailer. She went into the bathroom and shot herself up. When she came out, well, I had some money on the table. I always had cash on me. I put $3,400 on the table. You're dumb. There was a knife there. She took the knife and said, I want my money up front, and grabbed for the money. I tried to take the knife away. She starts to stab me, so I grab it and try to protect myself. She ran out of the trailer and ran to the booze can where the bikers are. She broke a window, and an older couple took her to the hospital. I drove to the police station. I forgot it had moved, so I went to the Eagle Ridge Hospital and nearly bled to death. On the way, I needed over 300 stitches. That woman, you don't hear about her at all. He also said, you fucking bitch. You tried to kill me and steal my money.
Such a snake, man.
Such a snake.
I understand you wouldn't admit to the fact that you just tried to murder somebody, but Jesus Christ.
But he's just obviously just a fucking snake. She came in severely bleeding, and she wasn't trying to mug him.
Right. Well, and you have to look at that. You have to look at that and establish was what you're saying really true? Because she beat the shit out of you, but it looks like you fucking tore the shit out of her. Because
good. Also good for her though. She beat the shit out of Willie Pickton.
She did. She did. She did. She almost killed him.
She did.
Almost.
Absolutely. Now, they didn't buy his story, obviously, and he was charged with attempted murder. Oh my God, this is the most exciting part. So Willie was charged, and this is the end of the story. Right, wrong. Willie hired a well-known attorney named Peter Ritchie to defend him in court, claiming to have paid $80,000 for his services. $80,000.
Okay.
They reached out to the law firm, who confirmed it was actually about $10,000 for an attempted murder case.
Yeah.
The court date was set for January 28th, 1998, but Sandra Ringwald was actually too scared to testify in court. And
sucks.
And well, she was afraid of the Picktons because of Dave Pickton's affiliation with the Hells Angels and Willie Pickton literally trying to murder her.
No, it's totally understandable.
Yeah, they had hold on the town. I mean, they were rich people, you know. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, she didn't testify. And as a result, the judge dropped every charge against Willie. Yeah. Which just feels wrong. Like, not even getting him for solicitation. You know what I mean? Like, he should have gotten charged with something, but he never got charged with anything. So, after this, she was the one who got away. Yeah. Unfortunately, she was the only one who got away.
It sucks too, because she could have put such an end to it, but she was so afraid of their family, and like, God, it sucks.
It is. It's awful. I mean, it's terrible. You know, she really could have kind of ended the whole thing, because at that point, I mean, he's already been killing. I mean, it's already, you know, if they raided that farm at that point, but again, I mean, this is due to a lack of care on the judge's part as well. I mean, they should have raided his farm. They should have done something. They should have done a search warrant.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they just didn't, you know, and it's because she didn't show up. You can blame her as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it's the system that doesn't care about the sex workers who were going missing.
Oh, 100%.
And it's awful. I mean, we won't get into it yet, but his farm wasn't raided for many, many more years.
Right.
And we're not even going to get into that yet. Now, after this entire event, Willie reached out to his old friend Gina Houston. She lived not too far. He was wanting to assure her he's not the man she read about in the papers. Gina would turn out to be a big part of Willie's life, and we said that earlier.
Right.
So her and Willie started talking, and it became to the point of Willie visiting her several times a week. Well, a couple months in, Gina fell on hard times. You know, her power was getting shut off, and I mean, Gina herself was also a drug addict.
Right. Well, everyone that he hung out with was a fucking a mess.
Everybody was just kind of a mess. Absolutely.
That's what he, preyed on.
Yeah, that was absolutely his thing.
Yeah.
Now, Willie, being just the nicest guy, he helped pay for her bills, and he made sure they had food, and he did nice things for her.
Right.
And this is the thing about Willie Pickton. He saw himself as a good, nice man. I mean, he would look in the mirror and he would see somebody who gave women chances, and he would give these people, like, he wasn't murdering women.
No, he was helping them.
Yeah, he was helping them.
Went back to drugs, and then he was ridding them.
He was cleansing them, literally, is how, basically kind of how it looked. He's a missionary killer through and through. So, like I said, he saw himself as a good man. Now, Gina was a Class A con artist, and she took on Pickton as her victim.
Right.
She was still in a long-time relationship with her drug dealer, but she kind of fizzled that out. She would still allow Willie to take her to the palace parties, the Piggy Palace parties. Okay, at this point, the Piggy Palace is open and running.
Such a horrible name.
It's because Dave was known as Piggy. Fucking
it's just
fat shit, fuck, piece of mother. Ugh. I mean, and there's 600 pigs, and there's pig shit everywhere, and it's just,
I'm like, why the hell would you want to party in a slaughterhouse of all things?
I don't know. Why would you?
It wasn't even converted. It was just like,
slaughterhouse.
We'll have parties here. Yeah, we'll have parties here.
Ooh, stinky parties. Oh man. But she would go with him to the parties. She would make him feel special. Like he'd have a girl who was hanging all over him, and old Willie, he's not the weird guy anymore. Now he's got a lady. But she was around the farm a lot. And so much so that even Dave Pickton tried to dissuade her from hanging around because he just did not like her. But she wouldn't stop. Not too long after, she was basically in control of Willie's life. Yeah. After that, she announced that her and Willie, they were engaged. Beautiful.
I was going to say, what she was working towards.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know exactly what she was working towards.
Now, they may have been engaged Hold on, sorry. Now, they may have been engaged, but she wanted everyone to know she did not have sex with him, ever, for any reason. Their friendship turned from a friendship into more of a business partnership. He would help her pay bills and get her food, and in turn, well, she would find women to bring back to the farm for him.
Right.
Now, the place she trolled more than anywhere was Wish, which is just disgusting. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, she would go after the women. Haven. Yeah, the women who believe, like, who were really actually trying to get help.
I mean, it's a common tactic to do.
I mean, shit, it's easy. You know, it's easy to take.
Yeah, well, you're dealing with somebody who is actively trying to break a addiction, and so of course, if you bring that to them, and if you bring the idea of that there's unlimited of something, or you'll have all you need ever, of course they're going to break it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wills are already super low, so it's the perfect place to prey upon people, unfortunately.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She would find the women who were most down on their luck. I mean, this was recalled by several working girls in the area. Like, they remember her like, hey, I got a friend. He's got a lot of dope and cash. He's up for a party out at his place and he can take us all. Now, Willie, at this point, he was known in the East Downtown area for being a fucking creep who lived far away and isolated on a farm.
Right.
He was also known on the Wish drop-ins bad date list from the, not just Sandra Gail Ringwald, but the woman Tracy Bouillon.
Yeah, he was on there for a couple of them.
Yeah. He was already somebody who was known to get violent or, say horrible things at the very least. Mm-hmm. Now, no bodies obviously had been found, and none of the women connected Pickton to the ones who had gone missing, but the numbers of women going missing were frightening. I mean, a lot of these women, as a result, declined Houston's offer because the numbers, again, they were just insane, like out of control. Nobody had ever seen it.
And no one was doing anything about it.
Exactly. In fact, prior to, I think, 1994, it was like on average, one woman would go missing from the low track. One woman. That's not including murders or anything like that.
Per week, per month, or what?
A year.
Okay, one
woman
year.
A year. Okay, like that's a big fucking leap. Okay, when you go from one woman a year, and then in 1995, 1995, that was 5 women already.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's 1996, 4 women, and now in 1997, early 1997, 3 women had already vanished. Which is why what happened to Ringwald was just terrifying. Right. Now, women had heard of rumors of the Piggy Palace being disgusting, horrific, and awful, but now
why would people say that?
Yeah, I mean, now they would talk to somebody who had actually seen it firsthand. When that was Sandra Gail Ringwald.
The real problem is they didn't have Yelp back then. That's what the issue was.
Yep. The word had gotten out in the low track to keep clear of rat-faced Willie Pickton. But when Gina started showing up at Wish offering drugs and dope, some women felt they could go around Willie. I mean, Gina was going to be there too, right?
What's the worst that could happen? Safe.
She should be culpable of some of these murders.
No, absolutely.
Now, by August of 1997, Kelly Little, Janet Henry, Helen Hallmark, and Jacqueline Murdoch had all gone missing. 8 women in 8 months. This was unheard of even in the low track. Yeah. Now, if we skip to September of 1997, Dave Pickton attempts to pick up Renata Bond, someone who he'd picked up before, but he didn't remember. She got into his car, but was instantly repelled when she realized who it was. She didn't like Dave. He was sloppy, gross. He was a dickhead. He was really awful as a person. And, she knew that. He offered her $100 for a blowjob, and she declined. He also offered her a flap of cocaine, and she still declined because she had a rule that she wouldn't take drugs from a trick. Now, he asked if anyone else in the area would do it and explained it was a date for his brother at their farm. It wasn't for him because he wasn't a loser. Willie was a loser. He was an invalid, right? And in fact, she told him she did know of somebody who might at her place. So they went to her place. Bond ran sort of like a boarding house for working girls in New Westminster.
Yeah.
She herself would tell the story of how she barely survived Gary Leon Ridgway, a.k.a. the Green River Killer, who we may talk about at some point, because goddamn, also Gazoon type man.
More to be connected. Thank you. Appreciate
it. Again, the Green River Killer and Willie Pickton very, very likely both worked in this area at some point or another.
Right. They were both picking from the same orchard, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like
he was more in Seattle, Ridgway was. But the problem, the difference between Ridgway and Pickton is that the American cops were trying to catch Ridgway.
Right.
Actively.
And Canada was laughing from the sideline, sipping on maple syrup.
Right, seriously, just chugging it down. Now, many of the women who lived there just straight up did not believe her. But she had a large enough basement apartment that she could offer rooms to women who were down and out in exchange for a share of their proceeds. Okay. She didn't offer rooms because she was a nice person. Was she a pimp? In a way. Not necessarily. She wasn't like a horrible, awful person, but I mean, she did kind of have a group of women who she would take money from,
right,
for room and board and stuff like that. She was like a land drug pimp lord.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
She was something, man. I don't even know if there's like a definition for what she was.
And she basically she ran a boarding house.
Everything. A madame. There you go.
Okay, yeah, a madame. There you go. Exactly. Good one. I like that.
Good one, Tex.
I mean, again, she wouldn't do it because she was a kind person.
No.
Sherry Irving. She was 24 years old and one of the women staying with Bond. She had known Sherry for a few years as they had watched each other's backs in the low track. They were both addicts and sex workers. She had been convicted that year. She'd been convicted the year prior on prostitution charges and now had a warrant out for her arrest. So she wasn't able to work the streets at all. Her end goal was actually to kick her habit and move back to Vancouver to be with her kid and her family, only staying with Bond for a couple days at most. Now, Dave told Renata on the way to her place that it would be an easy date with his invalid of a brother. Likely won't be able to get it up anyway. He doesn't even have that. He won't even get that.
He won't, yeah.
Or I guess if you're Dave, he won't even get that. No, don't worry about him. He's really, whatever. At this point, she'd agreed to go with Dave, but she wanted Sherry to come along as well for Willie. If only to get some of the money that Sherry had owed her back. They got to the farm, and she sent Sherry with Willie. She had an uneasy feeling she'd never see her again.
Oh, good.
A few weeks later, after bringing countless women to Willie Pickton on behalf of Dave, she realized she never would.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
She knew.
All right.
She knew.
She didn't know. That's the thing. She didn't, at this
point.
point,
I know.
I'm going to say she didn't.
But like, she had the feeling.
And we'll get more into that.
Deep down.
She did.
Something. Yeah.
She had an uneasy feeling she'd never see her again, but I mean, everybody was so kind of hopped up and she needed money. Sherry needed money. She thought she was doing something good for Sherry. So like it was a win-win for everybody. And it's not the case.
Yeah.
August 30th, 1997. Marnie Lee Frey called her family for her 25th birthday. They told her they'd be sending her money and some clothes as gifts. She was close with her family, but unfortunately also hooked on drugs. And she worked as a sex worker in the East Downtown area. Marnie was actually a very well-liked sex worker in the area of East Hastings. Even the cops liked her. Like, they looked for her and made sure she was doing okay.
That's not good.
Which is, oof.
That's just not good.
It's not. It really isn't. Her family had not heard from her since. They got worried. They told the cops in the area they lived, known as Campbell River, a week later. But the cops brushed it off, saying, it's nothing to worry about. Call back after Christmas. August 30th, okay, I want to say a week after August 30th, they said call back after Christmas. Just saying.
Yeah.
The only sign of Marnie Lee Frey since was a welfare check in her name cashed September 24th, 1997. This was the last anyone would ever hear from Marnie Frey. Now, Sherry was count 14. Marnie Lee Frey was count 16 of none other than Willie fucking Pickton.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
He was building his
Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. Around the same time, Cynthia Felix went missing, disappearing for good on November 26th, 1997. Mm-hmm. She was count 19. She was also the 12th prostitute to vanish in 1997. Andrea Faye Borehaven would be the final disappearance of the year. She was count 26 of Willie Pickton. December 24th of the same year, Pickton, who at this point basically lived in the low track, was alone. He decided to pull a prank. He let loose 2 of his small pigs in front of the Princess Hotel. He laughed as the police ran after them in attempts to stop the pigs. The irony is not lost on me here. I suppose it's easier to catch pigs than serial killers, though.
Well, because they're actively causing a disturbance that you care about.
Yeah, Jesus fucking Christ, man.
It's just crazy to me that he was basically toying with them.
Yeah, he was just playing.
Knowing damn well
this is a man who's murdered several women. Okay.
Right. They're not trying to catch you. They're more preoccupied with the damn 2 pigs he just let loose.
And here he is on Christmas Eve, like, I'm going to play a prank, a perfectly harmless prank, and let some pigs out in front of this hotel. Like, What kind of psychopath? You know what I mean?
Pickton.
If this was not Willie Pickton, yeah, it'd be a funny prank. He's just messing with people. Whatever.
Yeah. But he was sending a message.
God. Now, Carrie Koski, I don't know, I may be butchering that name.
Yeah, it's Koski.
Who was 38 years old, was home for Christmas in 1997. This was the last time any of her family had seen her. It was determined the last time anyone saw her was January 7th, but she was put on the list of those missing in 1997, making her number 14. The 14th sex worker to go missing that year. She, like every victim in this story, had a loving family who just wanted to see her get clean. Her sister Val went to the VPD, who dismissed the report saying, "Just junkies and hookers. Don't waste our time." They didn't file a missing persons report till January 29th of 1998. She was count 25.
That's so fucked up.
Count 25 of Willie Pickton.
Yeah.
Inga Monique Hall, who was 46, was the first woman to go missing, February of 1998. She was count 15. And ending
I don't know
today's...
how much trouble the police department got in.
Oh, we'll find out.
Not. Yeah.
Don't worry.
For not doing this.
March 21st. Let me try that again. March 21st, 1998. Renata Bond was shocked to hear that her friend Sherry Irving never made it back to Vancouver Island. She went to the police and reported that Irving was missing. She let them know of her dealing with Dave Pickton and what transpired that night. No one knows if they ever spoke to Dave, or if they did, what was learned. And that, my Messonites, is where we will pick up next week for The Pig Farm Killer, Part 4. Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So many people. Like, it's just like... It's just crazy to me. Like, the more you dig into it, the more you learn about it, the more you see just, like, how bad the police coverage of this entire thing was, how, like, subhuman these women were treated.
Absolutely.
And how somehow this slime of a human being was ignored.
I got away with it openly. I mean, the only thing that ever...
It's like that kid in school that everyone just like, oh, no, he's just being him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's exactly how, like, he was treated, and that's why he got away with this shit, because he's just being him.
Oh, he's just good old Willie. Don't worry.
He sliced her open? Oh, he didn't mean to
he's
do
just
that.
being quirky.
He likes her.
Exactly. Like, not even, oh, God.
Yeah, it's just mind-boggling how badly this was all handled.
And next week, we'll also learn a little bit more about of what Willie did with these bodies. And, oh, my God.
Next week's the gross stuff.
It's going to get disgusting.
If you're not already grossed out.
Yeah, if you're not already fucking grossed out. I wanted to make sure that, all these women were named and everybody knew who they were.
Yeah, that was
as much as I could without being like
Yeah.
a 4-hour episode.
Right. I mean, we could
Very
go
well could have
on.
been.
We could go on for days about all the victims and like who they were, but in the end,
And-
we're not going to do
And
that.
I do want to remind everyone, On the Farm literally does do that. Excellent if you want to learn more.
Book.
But yeah, that's where we'll pick up. We're going to be picking up next week for Willie Pickton Part 4. I want everybody to remember, don't forget to subscribe over on YouTube, Morbid Message Mondays, and for Tech Mess. And then also make sure you check out Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts, because that is where this and all of our past episodes were. So if you like this episode, make sure you go check out the past ones as well. That helps us out as well. So, Matt, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I'm excited to get into like the really dark shit.
I'm
Like I know, like
Dude,
this is dark. It's already dark, but like it's gonna get so dark.
I was reading this earlier. Okay. And I was getting like
Antsy.
fatigued. No, fatigued going through this because it's just horrible. Like one thing after another, and it's just like a gut punch every single time that you read this. This woman went missing, this next woman went missing, and 1998 is when he really amped it up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't even gotten there yet.
Nope.
And it just gets so much worse.
Yeah, he's a bastard for sure.
Oh my God. And some of the accounts, because I looked up some of these women outside of the book, and some of the accounts that people were saying, like, what he did to these bodies was horrific. I mean,
he was
god awful.
Yeah, he had no soul, no conscience.
Oh, and I would like to remind everybody, Willie Pickton had a horse named Goldie. He loved this horse so much. And then when the horse died, Willie Pickton butchered it and had it stuffed.
He stuffed his horse.
Stuffed his horse. That horse, it was mounted into his trailer, on his trailer. You can actually see it in the album cover that I made.
Can you really? Oh.
Yeah. If you look closely.
Oh my God, you can. Ugh.
Yeah. Okay, that's not weird.
Ugh.
I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't do that to a horse. It's one thing.
No,
like some people have their dogs
do
stuffed.
That to any pet.
You know, some people do that. Of course he did. Ha, got him. Some people do that to their pets. It's whatever. Like, it's cool. Okay. But folks,
hold it together.
This is where we are ending tonight's episode. Thank you so much for joining us today for another episode of Morbid Message Mondays. I hope that you had a great time and you learned something new. Ugh. Oh, God. I feel bad saying that. But I do. I genuinely do. I hope you have a great day, night, evening, whatever happens to be that you're having, Mess night. And well,
goodbye.